Hello, and welcome to episode 110 of the Book Course Pod. I'm Kristen. Unfortunately, I am here with Chris and Miranda. The unfortunately was for being Kristen.
I was going to say, it was
like, Jesus.
Who were we burning there?
It was I just have been, I'm a little inebriated. And I'm here with Chris and Miranda. And we are doing The End of Thrawn Treason by Timothy Zahn, chapter 17 to the end. And we're here. And I had some, what were we drinking? Some Crux Hazy
It was
shit?
a Crux Hazy. I don't remember which one, but it was number 12 on the tap list.
Great. Yeah, it was the first Crux Hazy I've had. That's part of why I'm drunk. The other part of why I'm drunk is this week has been a hellhole, and I worked from home today, so as soon as I was off of my last call at 5:15, I opened several of those what are they called? Snow days, some shit. Whatever I was
the Block 15
yeah,
IPAs?
the Block 15 Snow something IPA winter IPAs. So
yikes.
now I'm having Rainier and sparkling water. What are you drinking, Miranda?
I'm also drinking Rainier.
What'd you have earlier?
I had that Crux.
Yeah, I know. It was good. What are you having, Chris?
I am having green tea and also rum
tea.
separately,
Oh.
not together.
I was like about to say that's a very interesting combination. Like I could see whiskey.
I could see it working, but not with this rum. This is a very sweet rum. It is
Well, I don't
the
see it with
Venezuelan rum I
rum.
have, the Diplomatico Reserva Exclusiva.
She spiced or what?
It's an aged rum.
So is that a yes or a no?
I
Some
don't-
of us don't
some
drink
of us
a whole
are
lot of
stupid.
rum.
No, it's not a spiced rum.
Okay.
Okay.
It's just sweeter.
Yeah, it's sweeter because it's been aged.
Okay.
So like it's essentially a similar process to a whiskey.
Okay.
Gotcha.
Ooh.
And the aging
Yum.
takes some of the edge off and allows some of the sweeter notes in the sugar to come out.
Ooh.
Gotcha.
It's very
Any
very caramely.
idea-
Got like kind of like banana-y notes because it's so like
Oh.
kind of caramely toffee-y. It's nice.
Do you know what kind
Interesting.
of barrels they do it in? Sorry for asking that.
I don't, but I can look. I have.
Okay, I'm just wondering.
Let me look.
It's not that important. It's for me.
I don't know.
It's for me and my informations.
I feel like the last kind of episodes we recorded, I was like having a peppermint tea and then a whiskey on the side.
Yep.
But I was like, should I pour these into each other?
No.
Oh no, I was drinking. I was drinking a lemon sparkling water that I very seriously considered combining.
Oh, that makes sense. Anything
That's what
with
I'm
like
thinking of.
citrusy and
Yeah.
whiskey. Jasper's in the room. He's eating a beef cheek. If you're wondering what he's drinking beef cheek juice. He'll probably get rescued halfway through this episode by his father. But we went out before this episode, so he gets to have fun times. Cool. Chris, please interrupt us at any time during the pod to tell us.
He's looking at the banana rum.
I know he is, but if he doesn't figure it out before we start, that's fine. I'm looking at the Thrawn Funko Pop I have that Miranda got for me, which is apparently a very fucking hot commodity.
Oh, can I do a side note? We were like,
Sure.
gosh, this was back in October. I don't remember which episode we were recording.
Was it one of the Thrawn episodes? We've been recording it for about 16 months now.
No, it was something else
Right.
because Thrawn Treason y'all did like a year ago before I started.
Not Thrawn Trees and the other one.
Our
Thrawn
alliances.
Alliances.
Yes.
But so it was like the day that we had drawn names for like Secret Santa style
Holiday
gift
Armadillo.
exchange here. And I got Kristen. I was like, fuck. And then we started recording. And Kristen just like made this offhand comment about like really wanting a Thrawn Funko
Yeah, because
from
they're really
from Star Wars Celebration
Yeah.
or whatever.
it's a whole thing.
Is it the Celebration one?
I don't know.
Or some like con or something?
Yes, it was an exclusive. They don't make
I know,
other
it's like-
Thrawn Funkos.
Amazon.com. You'll have to see it.
Yes.
Or maybe it
You
was
do. You really do.
Yeah. It
Except
doesn't
you don't,
matter.
because Amazon's
It-
terrible. But
Yes.
also, according to the internet, rum is aged in former whiskey or bourbon casks.
Cool.
Ooh.
So,
So
probably
that is-
oak, right?
Yeah, generally American oak.
Mm,
This particular one, I found their website, and their website is surprisingly extra. It is an elegant and complex sipping rum, carefully crafted from the purest of sugarcane honeys. It is delicately distilled in
Love it.
ancient copper pot stills and aged
Oh.
in small oak casks for up to 12 years. Marrying a unique body with excellent balance has made it a reference for rum lovers and connoisseurs throughout the world.
We
Ooh.
love copper pot stills.
shit, I gotta come back and try that maybe.
Chris, you still haven't been to you guys still haven't been to the Coors Brewery, right?
No, we still haven't. Whenever
Please
you guys
go.
come visit next, let's go.
Yeah.
Well, sure, but like also go.
Yeah,
'Cause
well,
it's
yeah.
right there.
Well,
You're
except
so
now
close to us.
Coors is moving, so everybody hates
No.
them.
What? I don't
Yeah.
know anything about this.
Not their like main brewery, but their
Oh.
like corporate offices. They're moving to somewhere else,
Oh.
Somewhere with lower taxes.
Yeah.
presumably. Yeah.
Bummerville, but like the brewery's still very like you should go because it's like one of the oldest big production breweries, and they do a lot of stuff in like copper. It's fucking lit. It's very cool.
No, yeah, for sure. We have friends coming in February around President's Day weekend. I'm debating taking a day off
Cool.
Do it.
around that day, so I can hang out with them. Also, I want
Yeah.
you to know that the tasting notes for this are described as sweet toffee fudge and a seductive and elegant finish.
Oh,
I
you
am-
love to see it.
Nope, not gonna say that out loud.
Please don't. Okay. Drunk Kristen is going to try to usher us through this outline, as is my self-proclaimed new reason for being on the pod. Chris, can you explain to us why Thrawn is so smarter than us, other than the obvious points of being blue and not being human?
Yeah, this book is very. The other two books are like kind of, is Thrawn as smart as he says he is? Can he figure this out? And like, he can because he's Thrawn, but like,
Yes.
it's like a little bit in doubt. Whereas this one, like, the premise of it is that Thrawn will figure this out. It's very clear from the beginning that he already kind of feels like he knows what's going on.
Yep.
And he just like has this one on lock from start to finish. Like, he literally won a battle before it started without even being on his ship, which is ridiculous.
Which is so funny, and there's no. Miranda's pushing me out of the way because she wants to add something to this. I know you have your phone; you can add stuff from there.
Oh, you're so smart.
I know I'm not, but yeah, we don't have Anakin to be like a brain foil to Thrawn, like the anti-smart, like the smart in the opposite direction of Thrawn. So we're just like, I mean, I've been moving through this book for sure as just assuming that he knows exactly what the fuck he's doing, and assuming that everything he's doing is going to work out correctly.
Yeah, like, it's just, I don't know. He's like a shimmering beacon of competence in the Star Wars galaxy that we don't often see, particularly when he is surrounded by the likes of Orson Krennic.
Bwah, bwah, bwah. Orson Krennic's an idiot. What?
I mean, yeah, Orson's a dipshit, but like,
Classic
Capes.
Orson move.
Capes.
one of the things, like, I'm gonna rearrange some points here because I think one kind of leads into the other.
Great.
One of the things he says to Pharaoh in this section is that, sorry, I'm typing at the same time. He says he's bad at the political game, but I think that, like, he's one of those people who's like, oh, like, I'm only okay at this, but then he's fucking great at it.
Well, and like knowing that you're bad at it, I think especially in like Empire shit makes you inherently better at it because you're like so much more aware of what you're doing and what you're saying than everybody who just like has an inflated ego
Yeah.
and like is out for themselves, even though they're loyal to the empire, which I know we're going to talk about later.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely like he's like he is fully aware of where he is, but I also think that there's part of it that's like he's not as good at the politics as he is as everything else, but you still see him like kind of just laying out the options for Ronan. Is that the guy's name? It's Ronan.
It
right?
is.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
It is. It hasn't been a month and a half since we last recorded on
Don't,
Thrawn. What are
don't
you
worry
talking
about it. The holidays don't exist.
But like he lays out all the options for Ronan. He's like, so here it is. You can tell the Emperor that you hate him. You can go AWOL, or you can join the Chiss Ascendancy. And Ronan's like, I really don't want to join the Chiss Ascendancy, but like Thrawn like just really corners him into that choice.
Well, and it's
Like
the,
using those like political things.
it's
Yeah.
very much like the least of three evils.
Yeah.
And I know we're going to talk more about that later when we talk more about Ronan, but just like, fuck.
Yeah, but like he takes the knowledge that he knows about Ronan and about like the other political players here, especially involved with Stardust, and he's like trying to get Vader in charge of Stardust. He does that, and then he goes, "Oh, well, Vader's running that now, and he's gonna see that you hate the Emperor, so that's not a good situation." And he's still like, "I don't get politics," which is clearly not as true as he thinks he is.
Chris, can I get, like, this is, I did not put this on the outline, but now that Miranda has said what she said, can I get, like, your take on how Vader landed on supporting Stardust versus the TIE Defender program? Because, like, my gut would tell me that Vader would go for the TIE Defender program just because it's, like, I don't know, I'm just thinking, like, I don't know. Maybe that's completely wrong. Like, Anakin's a dumbass, so like maybe I should assume that he would go for the Death Star. But like,
No, you're not wrong. So it's been a minute since we read this book, but there's a couple small references in it referring back to the final battle in Thrawn Alliances when Vader actually flew one of the Defenders and was really impressed.
right? That's what
And-
I'm like. I know I have that
Yeah.
somewhere in my brain.
No. Yeah, you're totally right. Like Vader likes the TIE Defender program, and all things being equal, would probably pick it over the Death Star, but because he has never really been a huge fan of the Death Star, like, you know, obviously we have his kind of dismissing it in A New Hope with, you know, don't be too proud of this technological terror, and because, you know, I'll still force choke the shit out of you. And so, and, you know, I think in general, there are allusions to the fact that he kind of feels like it's a bit of an abomination and a waste of time. But it doesn't seem like he feels strongly enough about that to go against Tarkin and the Emperor, who are both so in favor of it. It really seems like, you know, for all that Tarkin and Krennic want to talk, the Emperor is very clearly the driver of the Death Star project.
Sure. Yeah, it's fucking bullshit. Because like, I feel like for the most part, other than that, I mean, granted, we don't have like a huge sample size of things where Vader and the Emperor have been at odds, where we see like what that looks like, obviously. But I'm like, damn, Vader like loved this thing, and instead of like going back, I mean, we don't know that he didn't go back to the Emperor and like hype it to him, but it's just like, it's a little bit, I feel like it's a little bit of a gap where I'm like, damn, I really feel like Vader would have like hyped this.
I mean, it's funny because, you know, you think back to how opinionated Anakin Skywalker is
Totally.
in Revenge of the Sith and in, you know, the Clone Wars and in Thrawn Alliances, and this shit never would have flown with him. Like, he, like, maybe would have seen the tactical implications for like the first couple years, and then when it was like, this is going to take 20 more years to construct, he would have been like, nope, we're out.
No,
We're
I want
just
those
building a
things
lot of
that
ships.
fly fast and that have shields or whatever the fuck.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
He
So-
wants to go fast, and I feel like Anakin would also recognize the danger of like having one big weapon and nothing else.
Yeah.
He likes to go fast, and he knows if you ain't first, you're last.
Yep, exactly. But then, you know, Vader takes over, and, you know, he's always kind of been this sycophantic guy who won't go against the Emperor unless it's like matters of like, I am emo today and you're not going to bother me. Like, he doesn't actually care about the strategy anymore. He just kind of does what he's told.
Must be emo.
Totally.
So it's, you know, it's a catch-22 of, you got his skill, but then you never actually bothered to get his nuance and his expertise on things after he turned to the dark side, which then, of course, could have helped.
Yeah, it's bullshit. I hate defending Anakin on this podcast.
But here we are.
This is a pro Anakin podcast.
Ugh. How dare.
This is an Anakin yes podcast.
This is a Chris. I think the first episode that Chris ever flaked out on, it's because he was dyeing his Anakin robes.
This is true. This is
And
correct.
we've been going downhill since then.
Okay, so
This
that's
is correct.
also somebody's debut on the podcast, so I don't know how to deal
Oh,
with
it's
that.
so true. I forgot about that.
Oh, that's so
well, like,
funny.
you weren't supposed to be a real member
damn.
because you were like, I will never move to Portland.
No, literally, it was time for us to record, and I was like, I am in the middle of this, and the bathtub is filled with clothing dye, so I'm not recording right now.
He was stowing his Jedi soup.
He was stirring a set of Jedi soup. Still an all-time great.
That's all-time great title, no doubt,
Yeah.
in the pantheon.
Yeah, absolutely. But like, and maybe we can include this in like the discussion about Thrawn and the Empire, but he's really proven himself to be way better at like identifying actual useful talent than anybody else in the Empire.
Just everybody else in the Empire seems so fucking stupid.
Oh, no.
Even before the destruction of the Death Star, and I'm like, where are the smart people in the Empire?
They're all
Help
fucking
me.
useless.
Like,
I know.
we're at a point where, I mean, and I know this is a point on our outline where it's like, I'm gonna steal 7 lasers, and it's like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, that is your like brief rebellion, and not even like in a rebellion sort of rebellion, but just like in an anti-empire sort of way. Are you fucking
I know.
kidding me?
It's so pointless too. Like, what
Right,
did you
exactly.
accomplish?
Like, what the fuck? Like, and this, let me just be clear. This is before they lose all the smart people to the fucking Death Star. Are you
Yeah.
kidding me?
I know. It's, you know, this is, and we've talked
Not
a little
great,
bit
Bob.
about this in reference to, you know, kind of the corruption that we see in the Empire and how it might compare to the First Order. And, you know, and presumably we'll get more of a window into the First Order hierarchy.
Which
But-
one's the First Order?
Huh?
Heard of it. Haven't heard
Yeah.
of her.
But, like, clearly we've seen that with Thrawn being the notable and, to a certain extent, only exception, the way you rise in the Empire is by being loyal, not by being smart.
Yeah.
Like,
But
it's by
he-
winning, not by having a good process.
Right, and I think this could almost go into like the treason discussion in a very esoteric kind of way. But like Thrawn is actively subverting that by identifying people who are very good and very competent and like challenging them and putting them in situations where they can really be their best. Like we saw it in the first book, and I think also in the second book of this trilogy. Like he meets Eli in fucking Imperial, or at the Academy,
Imperial
like-
Middle School.
Imperial Middle School,
Mm-hmm.
and he's like, okay, sure, and like,
Like, you're a child that has potential.
The child.
but I mean, Eli is like very good at what he does. He's incredibly intelligent, and you know, he's a very specialized kind of guy.
And even better, he doesn't realize how good at what he does he is. Which is like a very, very good thing for the Empire, who is full of fucking giant egos.
Yeah. And then so he like does that with Eli and like grooms him to be this specialist and like to also see the big picture, which I feel is rare. But then we see it in this book when they finally confront each other in this section. Pharaoh's like, "Oh, I don't have an issue." And Thrawn's like, "You want to know why I didn't like approve, recommend something
Oh yeah.
to be the
It
leader
was,
of
it
this.
was like recommending her for a promotion, I think.
Yeah, like recommend you to be the leader of this like little fighter group or whatever. Yeah, I actually did that for you to be in charge of the whole fleet.
Yeah.
And she's like, what?
Blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, I mean,
Got it.
I have two things branching off of that. One is that just like Thrawn is just such a better manager, like
Yes.
and like looking in Star Wars, but also just like looking in the real world. And this is something I've been thinking a lot about in my professional life as well. Like the people who are good managers aren't necessarily the people who like get great results and like make all their numbers. It's the people who put themselves in position to succeed by creating a team that wants to work around them.
Totally.
And
like-
Thrawn does that in spades.
And I mean, like on a personal level, like Thrawn is the kind of manager I think I would excel with, because like he goes into conversations with people and he's like,
What do you think of this?
why did you do this? And he knows the answer, and he knows you know the answer. But like he puts Pharaoh, he puts Eli in situations where they have to like think through the problem and solve it sometimes. Like, you know, that whole conversation where he's like, yeah, I want you to be the commander of this fleet, and you already are, so congrats. He's like,
Very, very Thrawn voice.
why did you do this with the TIE defenders? And Pharaoh, like, because we're
She's
getting
like,
her,
you know the answer, sir, but let me tell you about it.
we're getting the monologue, like, shit. I was hoping I could pass this off as like a malfunction. It's like,
She's worried about explaining it, even though she knows she's right.
no, she's right, and she's gonna explain it. She's gonna do it well. But like, she's been serving under him for so long and has been like learning, not necessarily like how to do what he does the way he does it, because nobody can. Like, it's fucking Thrawn.
Thrawn
But-
be like that.
But like to think that way and to think logically and like plan and all of that, which clearly nobody else in the Empire is doing.
Yeah. But then my other thing about Thrawn and his ability to identify smart people. How impressed is he actually with Pharaoh? Because he obviously likes Pharaoh. He obviously thinks that she is competent and able to fight for the Empire.
I don't know that he's
But he
that
doesn't ask her to fight
impressed.
for the Chiss.
Fair. I don't know that he's that impressed, but I think he knows what he's supposed to do as a good leader, which I think is a different thing.
Yeah, and I also don't think he's impressed by like anybody. Like I
Eli.
don't think he's impressed by Eli and is like, "Oh, you're so good at this." Like whatever. I think he's like, "Oh, you would be useful for what the like Chiss are trying to do right now." And like he's obviously not fucking impressed by Ronan, and he still bullies him into going to the Chiss.
Yeah.
I think Thrawn, I don't want to say he's like not capable of like being impressed, because that is a whole other thing. But I feel like he looks at these things so logically that he's like, you were good at this. Here is where you would be best suited. Like,
Yeah, it's like, I don't get impressed at you doing your job situation.
yeah, he's like, oh, you do this well. You should continue to do this well. Let me set you up to do that.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's interesting because like Pharaoh is in such a unique spot with him. And obviously the fact that she is no longer with Thrawn and whatever fleet he has, the 7th maybe, I don't know.
I think it's the 7th.
The fact that she's no longer with the 7th fleet that gets destroyed and scattered at Lothal means that she has, you know, a future within the Empire such as it is. So like she could come back. And but also like where Eli got sent to the Chiss, where Ronan got invited to join the Chiss, where Thrawn tried to convince Nightswan, the like criminal mastermind from the first Thrawn novel, to join the Chiss before Nightswan said no. Like Pharaoh never gets that offer. Like Pharaoh and the rest of the bridge crew don't get it. So like even if he knows that they're competent, they're missing the special sauce.
Well, see, I think part of that is like he knows, like Pharaoh just kind of seems very, I don't know if unselfish is the way to put it, but she's not self-serving for sure. Like she is 100% loyal to the Empire. Like she's constantly thinking about it through this book, and like it's Thrawn. He knows that.
Do we think that factors into it or not?
I think it might. Like he knows he can like push Ronan into it because Ronan's out for himself ultimately.
Ronan's a fucking idiot.
Yeah, Ronan's fucking useless, but he's like, or Thrawn, recognizes that, and he recognizes that Ronan isn't going to put himself in a position like where he would present or kind of bring danger to himself. And he knows that Pharaoh is loyal almost to a fault. And like she was the one who was sending Tarkin like these anonymous
but loyal to a fault to the Empire,
Yeah.
not loyal to a
Yes.
fault, right?
Yeah, not in general, like to the Empire. I think
That's
part of
yeah,
him,
that I think is the key.
part of him knows that like he cannot get her to go to the Chiss and be loyal to the Chiss and do what's in the best interest of the Chiss, because she's always going to do what's in the best interest of the Empire as a whole.
Yeah, that's a great point. I think that's the key. Because Eli was never like, he didn't dislike the Empire, but he
was a
didn't
job.
particularly care about it. It was a job. And Ronan obviously could not give less of a shit about the Emperor himself. Loves Krennic, but also loves not being dead.
Oh, you're not going to use my picture. I sent a better one.
Miranda is speaking about. I'm trying to post on the Instagram.
Oh, nice.
I
Nice,
sent
nice,
a
nice.
really good picture.
Oh, did you
Alright.
send it to me?
I sent it to the group.
Great.
I sent it in the Slack.
Super.
Sorry, this has been an Instagram detour. Let us continue. To
Well,
talk
while
about
we
Thrawn.
detour, let's continue on the subject of loyalty in the Empire. Obviously, it's something that is at the core of this book, but it's got a lot more nuance than you would generally think you'd see in a totalitarian government.
Right.
Because Ronan, obviously being the number one, if he can't even like pretend that he is loyal to the system, like he would have failed miserably under communism because he would have just like not been able to keep his big mouth shut about how he thinks he's smarter than the Emperor. And like some random like underling would have turned him in by now. Like,
Oh, I mean, is that him not being loyal to the system? I'd like he seems very happy with like keeping up. Oh no, he doesn't. Never mind. It's like he seems very up with like keeping the status quo, but no, I can't find the words for what I want to express right now. He is very loyal to something about the Empire. I don't know.
I don't know that I would say he's loyal to the Empire. I think he's certainly loyal to Krennic.
Mm-hmm.
But I think if Krennic were to leave the Empire, he would follow Krennic and not the Empire.
Yeah,
Like, I don't think the Empire is his North Star.
fair.
He's very gay for Krennic.
He's extremely gay for Krennic.
Aren't we all?
That's just science. I'm not.
I'm not.
I think he's very stupid.
Oh, he's an idiot.
But also, like, since he is, like, the one who's, like, trying to get everybody on treason charges to help himself and Krennic, he's the one who ends up committing treason to save himself because he knows that he can't lie to Vader, and he also knows that he can't keep his big mouth fucking shut.
You hate to see it. I don't know.
Do you, though? Do you
I
hate
mean,
to see it?
No, I don't hate to see it. I just like. I think Ronan is such an interesting case study in loyalty, because like his whole thing is like, oh, Thrawn's fucking treasonous, but like he's like, oh, Thrawn's bad to the Empire, he's with the Chiss, but he's only really doing it for like his own benefit,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like this faux loyalty that.
Yeah, it's really this. I mean, and I know this was something in our outline, so I'll just kind of us in. I think this segues us well into it, but it's so funny because it's like everybody else is more loyal to themselves. Like most people that we see who are in the upper echelons of the empire in this book are more loyal to themselves and out to improve their own like personal and professional stature, whatever that looks like. That is above anything above what they have to do with the empire, whereas Thrawn has like this other thing, the Chiss, which at least he's transparent about, right? Like for the most part, at least with like the leader of the empire, and whereas all these other folks are not transparent at all, and Thrawn is being punished because he's an alien essentially who is showing like some loyalty to his homeworld, etc.
Are you suggesting
In my Star Wars that the Empire is the galaxy's version of racist? What? Why would I ever do that?
I can't imagine. It's honestly beyond me. But how dare you?
But like it's just like so fucked because Thrawn is so much more transparent about his loyalty and where it lies and that complicated equation than the folks who are like, I'm only loyal to the Empire, and then it like in the background they're like, JK, I'm only loyal to myself.
But I think like this book also kind of sets him apart because the epilogue is all about the Emperor like kind of questioning that and trying to figure out how he's going to deal with that moving forward. He's like, oh, and like Thrawn's out dealing with the Chiss. But at the same time, like Thrawn is clearly the only person like actually looking out for the overall health and like safety of the Empire. Because I think there's a part, if I recall correctly, in the epilogue where Palpatine's like, oh, you know, Darth Vader also knows that the Grisks are a threat. And nobody else seems to know that except for Thrawn. And I trust Darth Vader, but I don't trust Thrawn, so that's kind of weird. It's like, no, he's clearly dedicated to you. You're all just fucking racist.
I know, and it's so interesting that like even like all the way up to the Emperor, he doesn't see loyalty as to the Empire. He sees it as to himself.
Right.
And for him, it's not so much like for him it is very much motivation, not results.
Right.
Like it is like the opposite of like it is very much intention and not impact. Like as long as you want to do well by the Emperor, you can get away with a decent amount.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's interesting too because like one of the knocks on Thrawn throughout this trilogy has been, oh, he's really close to the Emperor. And then we get this, and it's like, how much does Palpatine really trust him? And trust his loyalty to
fucking
the
anyone.
Empire? Also
like, he doesn't even... Like, this is a whole other thing, and maybe we'll get into it in the wrap, because, like, that's when we pontificate about random-ass shit, even more than we are right now. But I'm like, how much did anyone, Thrawn or Vader, or people, quote, that the Emperor trusted the most know about any of his contingency plans?
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, sorry, go ahead.
I'd be interested to see like where Thrawn goes moving forward, because I just imagine like he got the name Death Star pretty early on. Like that was one of the closing lines of the first book in this trilogy,
right,
if I recall correctly.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And again, in the epilogue, the Emperor, he thinks about this. He's like, it's still not super kosher that, like, this guy knows that he's not part of Operation Stardust. He's not one of, like, the most high-ranking officials on this project. He just figured it out. And so I wonder that, like, given enough time and resources, Thrawn would figure out at least something about the contingency.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's... The funny thing about that is that part of the reason, not so much that he knew about the name, but that he figured out about Stardust, the project, is because of Eli. Is because he had Eli tracking Dunium shipments and like basically spotting a giant planet-sized hole of Dunium that was not where it was supposed to be.
Whoops.
So it's
planet or small moon.
That's true. It
That's no moon.
That's go head for that small moon. That's no moon. This has been
Lord.
Kristen and Miranda recapping Star Wars.
Yep.
Which one is Star Wars?
I don't unclear.
It's
Oh.
like it's not Star Piece.
As a side note, this is a very funny. I think so. We have like a small local theater that we used to live right next to that like shows. It has some first run shit, but it has like a bunch of old shit. But it had to name like Rise of Skywalker something weird because I think it probably originally had like Star Wars, maybe just Star Wars, because that is the only Star Wars that is out right now. And our theory is that some fucking dude bro nerd came and like complained that it wasn't A New Hope.
What?
TM.
What is this?
I'm
yeah.
very confused.
I am too.
They had to
I was at this theater this week and I
I
have
know.
no idea what she's talking
they
about.
had to. Well, okay. So like they have limited space on their like where they name movies
on the guy.
marquee. Sure.
That's the bitch.
Yeah. But like they had to name it something bizarro, like STWRSRSO, like something like that. Like something that's like it basically makes no sense unless you know what you're talking about. Unless they had originally put just like Star Wars, like ROS or something like that. And me and Quinn were like, the thing that they had up for Rise of Skywalker made so little sense. Did they originally have Star Wars up and someone came and complained that it like wasn't the original Star
That's
Wars?
funny.
I mean,
And
honestly, like
that's what I mean. It's
very
within the realm of
possible.
possibility. That's what I mean. Like
Portland's a terrible place.
I would not
It could
even be
happen.
bringing it up, but it's like the shortening that they picked for the marquee was just like so. I was like, I know what it is because I know what the movie is and what they've called it, but like they must have had to. It's either like contractually to show the movie they had to at least say these things, or someone like called them out for like confusing it with A New Hope, which was originally called just Star Wars, right?
Yeah, that's really funny.
Just fucking Christ.
If there's any city
Anyway.
in the country that would happen.
Yeah, it's
It's
here. It's
absolutely
goddamn bullshit.
Portland.
It was just like everything would just turn into like 2 to 3 characters, and I was like, I barely know what that says, and I know what all the Star Wars are called, like very out off the top of my head. So that was just very funny. Anyway, that was a non sequitur.
Thank you for your input.
You know, you're so welcome. What
Looking
else
at
do we have to
some of
talk
the
about this?
loyalty,
Yes.
looking at some of the loyalty of like, kind of continuing on with the like loyalty of actions versus the loyalty of like heart and motives. Like you look at Thrawn's counterparts in Savit and in Tarkin and in Governor Haviland, and all of them are not doing the right thing for the right reasons.
Yes.
Are you
Like-
implying that there's people looking out for their own self-interest in the Empire?
Not in my Star Wars.
In my empire,
I told you that I believe that in the audiobook it's Savit.
Savit, thank you.
Savit.
Which is stupid because it should have an E on the end of it. It's supposed to be Sabit, but
Unless,
Savit, but
or it
here
should
we
be
are.
Savi.
Yeah, I know. Thank you. I know. I'm just telling you how they pronounce it in the audiobook, as always. I am not the creator of Star Wars, notably.
Send all of your Rise of Skywalker
Just
comments
send it to me
and hate
at
mail
It's Keeks. Did you
to
guys know that
Kristen.
I created Star Wars?
She was actually the one who came up with Rey Palpatine and plays the weird puppet bus driver. all Kristen.
We are all the weird puppet bus driver.
Listen, we love puppet bus drivers generally. Okay, keep
Sorry.
going, Chris. You were making a point.
No, well, I was then writing down a title.
Sorry, I'm not doing it because I've had 17 beers.
That is true. But yeah, so like you look at
Savit, but it's more.
and as we talked about, he's trying to convince himself that he is doing it for the Empire when he's stealing like 7 turbo lasers from the Death Star, which is
Same.
like it's the equivalent of like grabbing a 20 from a bank.
It's the new phone who this of of things.
Like it is so ridiculously unimportant
It's
that like
Michael-
it's hilarious that he's trying to convince himself that he's doing it for the Empire so that they have these resources.
It's Michael Bloomberg spending his personal money on a Super Bowl ad.
Oh my god.
Sorry,
Speaking of worse than the
I
Empire.
saw. Sorry, this is a side note. Surprise! This is politics pod now.
this is side note pod now.
Twist.
But I saw somebody who like vaguely did the math on his like how much he was actually spending on buying the Super Bowl ad. And the conclusion this guy got to was like, if he makes $50,000 a year, he's spending $8.75 on the Super Bowl ad.
Yeah.
But that's that's the scale
It's
of
very
this
upsetting.
like treasonous act. It's like, thank you.
Wait, are we still talking about the Bloomberg thing?
No, we're talking. We're talking about
Sorry.
Savage.
I'm
Mike
are you
Bloomberg is
calling-
treasonous. You
are
heard
you-
it here first.
I was
No,
like,
it's-
wait, I
it's-
didn't think we were calling Bloomberg treasonous at this point. I'm fine if we are, but I did not follow the metaphor. Excuse me.
No, it like that. That's basically the scale of like stealing 7 fucking
Yeah.
Turbo lasers.
turbo lasers. It's like,
Or like-
somebody's gonna think that's a clerical error.
Or like seven like parts that they switched the name of from food. I love how it's like not only is it 7 turbo lasers, which is nothing in the grand scheme of nothing.
it's a very specific amount of turbo lasers.
It's like it was supposed to be like Wookiee porridge. Like it. What the fuck?
Yeah. It's like it's a rounding error, and he's like, it's so clearly out of spite and not out of anything for the Empire that like again, it's like you're not hurting anyone necessarily until he then freaks out because the cover up is always worse.
Yeah.
But like you're not doing it with the right reasons in mind.
Doing it.
And Tarkin is basically just sitting back and like laughing at Savit and Thrawn and Krennic having their like little cage match situation.
Also, just like the fact, I love how if you're Savit, your thought is no one is ever gonna fucking figure this out because it's a clerical error, and then Thrawn's like, clerical error is my favorite. Like,
I know, right?
Well, also, I think the flip side is like, if it were Thrawn who is the one trying to steal from the Empire, that's exactly what he would do. But Savitt clearly didn't do it on purpose that way. Like, Thrawn would be like, okay, so, you know.
What would I do to make sure no one noticed because everyone doesn't look at anything that's actually important?
Realistically, if we fudge a couple of, like, you know,
If
acquisition
we just make
logs.
sure it seems like giant space bats, what could happen?
It's like, we'll just fly them through this cave. The
Who-
space cave.
Who says no? Fucking Christ on the cross. Anyway, sorry. Chris, did we derail what you were talking about? Keep going.
No, that was pretty
Sorry.
much what I was talking about. Just that again to bring it back around to Thrawn
Bring it
being the smartest one in the room
around town.
and like pointing out correctly that there is no conflict between the Chiss and the Empire, so there is no conflict to his loyalty. And everybody's like, seems fake, but okay. Where all around him, like as they are like calling him treasonous, they are actively not caring about the Empire.
Yeah.
Just like, again, to just point out how kind of broken to its core the Empire really is.
Yeah. Like, I can't say this without just repeating exactly what you just said.
Words are hard.
Well, no, it's just like everybody's very focused on their own, like how they can benefit from the Empire, that they're not even thinking about the Empire anymore. And Thrawn's like, let's protect ourselves. The risks are dangerous. And they're like, fuck you, you fucking alien.
And Palpy's in the background like, the final order. I'm playing 16-dimensional chess. Here we are. Ha ha ha.
Yeah, like Thrawn is the voice of reason, being like, can we at least all agree that we don't want to die? And everybody's being like, shut the fuck up, you blue piece of shit.
Sometimes I want to die.
But
Fuck you,
if some of
Thrawn.
you die, then I get more money.
I know. Yeah. Oh, that's so true.
That's a chance I'm willing to take.
It's a chance he's willing to take, my friends.
And then just like you read books like this and it like completely fits that obviously the Empire collapsed within a year of Endor because there's no one else who is remotely qualified to be in charge.
Nobody's qualified to be in charge.
I suggest that you have 2 Death Stars for every thing that you're trying to defeat, and then you just kill both Death Stars, and then there's nobody. It's science.
That it is.
I'm just saying, if you're trying to get rid of all the smart people, convince them to build 2 Death Stars and then destroy both of them.
Yeah, concentrate your best and brightest in one spot that's easily destroyed.
But twice.
What a great
know.
idea.
And somehow did it again with Starkiller.
It's like a problem
Listen,
number 1.
This is what
No.
I'm saying.
Which like
this
I get that the point of Starkiller was that you could do it from across the galaxy and that would be safer and it's bigger,
Safer,
so it's
quote,
harder
quote.
to blow up. But like
And
how many times?
Are we
How
talking
many
about
times, y'all?
Starkiller Lava Planet? Safer? Is that what you're talking about?
an important part of intelligence is like learning from your mistakes. And every time they're like, oh, this was an anomaly. Galen Erso did this thing.
It's fine. Don't
But
worry
we
about
don't
it.
have him
TM.
anymore, so we're going to build the same specs.
Don't worry about it.
And
Just
also we're going
make
to
it bigger.
We're going to do this bigger, but on a volatile planet that can easily blow up.
Happier and with your mouth open.
With mouths wide open.
Yeah.
All right, let's
Chris is very upset
Sorry.
with us.
hang on. Title.
Is it with
Oh,
mouths
no.
wide open?
Yup.
Yeah.
Also, I like how nobody is marking down timestamps because we all know nobody is going to edit this.
No, it's just gonna stay how it is. It's fine.
It'll
We
be fine.
apologize.
We don't apologize. I
let's
retract
finish
Miranda's
this.
apologies.
Let's finish this episode by tying this into Rise of Skywalker, since
Sure.
that is
Okay.
the thing these days. And I did not put this on here, so whoever did, you want to walk us through?
Did I actually put this on here?
This looks like you, babe. I didn't do it.
Is it the part where we said,
A long talk.
yeah, so like they at the end in the epilogue, it's unclear which of them between Thrawn and Palpy says we're gonna have
Palpatine.
a long talk.
Palpatine, yeah.
Palpatine.
Great, thank you. That's how books work. Kristen is wrong and everyone else is right. That's how books work. But I brought this up earlier, but I'm wondering how much, if any, did Palpy tell Thrawn about any of the plans that are the Final Order? Obviously, he didn't tell him anything in detail, but from what we've seen and heard, Palpy's actually told Thrawn a lot more things than he's told a lot of other people in the Empire. So,
I don't know if I agree with that.
I
mean,
challenge me, obviously.
Palpatine didn't tell Thrawn about the Death Star, which is like the Empire's big secret. And Thrawn was like, tell me about the Death Star. So, I mean, and I will admit, I haven't finished Rebels. I don't know what Thrawn's up to later. But like...
Miranda, it's on Disney Plus.
I
We
know.
own it. I know. I'm aware.
I restarted it recently, actually.
Yeah, that's what she does. If you didn't know this, give her a hard time. She will go and restart things and then stop watching
And then
them 3
continue not to
episodes
finish.
before the end. Yes, correct. Anyway,
But like... Palpatine obviously played this very close to the vest, So I don't think he would have shared a lot. He's like, oh yeah, like I don't think he wouldn't even like have addressed this. We've only seen him address it in Aftermath Empire's End, and he was vaguely like, there's a plan for this. But if there's anybody to figure out anything about that and to like independently realize that Palpatine does have a plan, it does involve the Empire rising again in whatever format, it does involve him staying alive, apparently, it's
Something.
Thrawn.
Yeah.
I don't, if he knew anything about the Final Order plans, which at this point I don't think he does, because we're several years before that becomes necessary. Like, he would have done it independently. He would have done it using Eli to like.
And
identify
to me, I
patterns.
think, because also, like, obviously we have both the First Order and the Final Order, which are Palpatine's brain children, and
no middle order,
no middle order, just first and final.
no order, which ironically is what the
Because
Empire stands for.
logical
Pow, pow.
names, but like it is a good question, because obviously we know that, as we talked about in our Rise of Skywalker analysis episode that released last week, the way that the First Order found a way into the unknown regions to be hidden was partially due to Thrawn.
Yeah.
And it was partially due to the fact that Thrawn and Palpatine spent a lot of time going over routes through the unknown regions.
Well, and that was like part of my point was it. If we think about the number of people that Palpatine even vaguely treated as his equal intellectually,
Yeah, it's not
the
high.
list is very short, but Thrawn is on that list sometimes.
Yeah, the list is like
Which-
Thrawn, maybe Tarkin.
Exactly. And Vader, right? Ish.
The arguable.
Well,
Vader,
right,
yes.
and that's a different thing, right? It's like
yeah,
that's
that's a different discussion.
sure, but like,
But yes, I hear what you're saying.
that's why I even bring it up, because it's like I don't know, like I feel like Tarkin is. I mean, I feel like who are we talking about? Help me.
Thrawn.
Thrawn, thank you. I like looked at his Funko and forgot its name. I feel like Thrawn is like wide reaching and forward thinking enough to be like, great, so when the Death Star doesn't work, even if that's 200 years from now, what's your contingency plan? And like wouldn't bat an eye at that. Whereas I feel like most of the other people in the Empire would have been like, well, what do you mean what do you mean the Death Star's not gonna work?
I mean,
what about me and my money?
I mean, honestly, I think most other people are too busy, like, trying to get to the point where, like, when Palpatine dies, they're the one who's in charge of the Empire.
Right.
And, like, Thrawn...
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of my point, right?
Yeah, like, Thrawn has no interest in it.
No, he's like, okay, so what's the next thing that we're gonna do, Dad?
Yeah. Well, and the
Oh,
other
God,
thing
boss.
is that
Daddy.
Daddy.
oh god.
Daddy. Thank you, Daddy.
Okay. The other thing is that Thrawn is also arguably the only person in the Empire with a vested interest in knowing Palpatine's contingency, because nobody else really wants to know it, because they all they know is that they're not a part of it.
Yeah.
And
Yup.
so, like, except Rax, but he's a special case. But like, they know that they have not been told that they are next in command, and I think everybody kind of assumes it's Vader. And so they don't care. They're not worried about the official contingency. They are worried about how they can work it to their advantage. Thrawn needs to know the contingency, because Thrawn is there to help the Empire defeat the Grisk and defend against the Grisk, but also to make sure that they don't threaten the Chiss. And knowing
Totally.
on the off chance that Palpatine dies, knowing who comes after him is a huge part of that. And so that is another, I think, reason to think that even if he didn't know everything, he may have very well had an inkling about the contingency in some form. Whether he knew about the details, whether he knew about the difference between the areas they were going, whether he knew about Exegol specifically, I think those are deeper questions that potentially become less likely. But I agree with you that it seems unlikely that he would have just been like, I don't need to worry about this.
I feel like he would have an idea of the big picture.
Yeah, for sure. And with that, I think we can wrap it there. Thank you all for listening to this episode of the Book Wars Pod. Next episode, we are going to be wrapping up Thrawn Treason by Timothy Zahn. And then after that, we are going to be reading Myths and Fables by George Mann. It is a middle grade book. We're very excited to be reading it. I think that's what we're doing. I need to look at the schedule again.
Yeah, there's a whole ass schedule. Follow us on Twitter
I know.
at BookWarsPod.
We'll tell you on
will
Twitter.
Yell you.
I am
That's the next
very sure.
reading assignment.
I believe that's the next reading assignment, but there
Well,
might
so
be other
that
shit in between.
there isn't a reading assignment for this coming week because we're wrapping it up as you were listening.
Correct.
Okay, I got it. Got it, guys. Don't worry. We're totally not going to edit this. Next week is the Thrawn Treason wrap up.
We're lazy
The following
shits.
week, we are going to be talking about season 1 of The Mandalorian and finally talking about that, where the story fits in, what we know, what we want to see from season 2, what we liked and didn't like. So get excited for that. It is bonus episode season here at Book Wars Pod Central.
Babby Yoda.
And then after that, we are going to be starting Myths and Fables by George Mann. So you have plenty of time to get that from your local library, your local indie bookstore, and get excited and join us. In the meantime, hit us up on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and Tumblr at BookWarsPod. It has been great seeing people's reactions to some of our Rise of Skywalker thoughts. I've already had a couple really awesome discussions today with Space Jess, with
At Space
Tyler,
Jess, several
at
S's.
Space Jess of Lives of Beautiful Town Pod, at Haha Yeah Tyler, I believe it
Tits
is.
McGee.
Tits McGee,
He's
the
not
classic.
Tits McGee anymore, but he's always Tits McGee in our hearts.
Forever in our hearts. But I want to hear what you think as well. We all do. So, we like Star Wars and we like talking about it. That's why we do a podcast. If you want to email us, bookwarspod@gmail.com. And please rate, review, and subscribe to both us and the Tashi Station Radio Megafeed to help other people discover the show in this very exciting age of new Star Wars content, because I feel like there's going to be a lot of announcements coming in a very condensed period of time now that we're past episode 9. If you have the means, please give
Episode 9,
to...
never heard of her.
Not familiar. Please give to the Tashi Station Radio Patreon and give us coffee at ko-fi.com/bookwarspod, where you will get pictures of Porkchop, Orca, and Jasper if you give, because it really helps us cover our hosting and production costs and helps us start saving so that we can have some merch to give people at Star Wars Celebration Anaheim later this year.
Yay.
Our theme song is Whiz Bang by Poddington Bear. Our logo and artwork are by Joe Butera Design. For Kristen and Miranda, I'm Chris. Thank you so much for listening to episode 110 of the Book Wars Pod, and we'll talk to you later this week, wrapping up Thrawn Treason.
If you want Anakin's a dumb bitch stickers, you're gonna have to donate to us. That's all I'm saying.
Oh my god. Yes.
Who says no to Anakin's
Awesome.
a dumb bitch stickers?